Okay, hello to everyone. Welcome to the Everyday Martial Arts Podcast with me, the Dark Master, Master Gale. Today we've got, I'm super excited, we've got Miss Emma Deakin and from Chesterfield, one of our Puma martial arts instructors, who's going to just share with us some of her thoughts on being a martial artist and maybe other parts of her life as well. Perhaps how she trains and what she does day to day to enhance her martial arts. So welcome, Emma. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, just taking Saturday as it comes.
Excellent,
So, yeah.
excellent, excellent. Well, my Saturdays usually feel, but I've actually literally about 3 minutes ago just got off my motorbike, which is what I love to do. I like to go for a long ride, find a bit of grass and just chill out and read a book for a few minutes. So I've just done that. I've just come back. So
I've done the opposite of that. I've been out on my push bike, so
oh, yeah.
so I'm feeling good too.
I'm feeling
Yeah.
chilled. Well, as some will know, you're a martial arts instructor in Chesterfield, and I've been doing that for some time now. But what I'd like to start, as I start with all of these, is just to find out a little bit about people in their martial arts journey so far. So I don't know if you want to share with us, your a little bit of brief history about your martial arts journey.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, it's a funny one because I guess I started my martial arts journey quite late in comparison to a lot of students nowadays. A lot of students start at the age of 4, going through little
Yeah.
Puma syllabus or something similar, and then progressing into Taekwondo. So I say late, it's not late, but at the age of 14, I picked up martial arts.
All right.
Um,
I was later than that, by the way. I was 16.
right. Okay, so maybe I was quite young then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess everyone starts at different stages in life, but I'd always been really sporty.
Mm.
I did everything at school, all the teams, but nothing really. I never took to anything that I really wanted to do. And then one of my friends started Taekwondo, and he dragged me along. And from the minute I stepped into the dojang, that's what I wanted to do. I can remember kicking big kick shields on the first night, and I was like, "This is ace." So yeah, that's where it started really. I mean, my mum had taken me to dance classes and all sorts of things, and there was no but I walked into that, and that was it. And to be quite honest, my mum and dad were a little bit reluctant because they're I've been brought up as a Christian and a Christian family, and I think my mum and dad thought there might be something a little bit,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know, a bit spiritual about it. So
yeah,
they were a little bit, oh, are we sure this is right? And it took them a bit of time to come to terms with the fact I was going to do it, and there was no holding me back. But
sure.
as the years have gone on, they've learned to realize it's not really about that. There is a bit of a moral culture behind it, and it does affect you as an individual day to day, but it's not spiritual as such.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's interesting actually, because my parents, particularly my mum, was a Christian as well, and she questioned me when I was doing it about it as
Yeah,
well actually,
yeah,
and it is funny, but obviously since then, I've taught a number of different people who've been Christians and who still attend church and so on, and they say actually it fits in quite well with Christian morals and that type
yeah.
of thing. So it's good.
And beliefs. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, my mum and dad are into it as much as I am, I guess, in a
Sure.
different way. But
Yeah, yeah,
now, yeah, it's very much a family thing actually.
yeah,
Even on
yeah,
Zoom now, my mum in the living room in the background, and not that she's ever really done it. She
yeah.
joins in the background. It's like, Mum, what are
Yeah.
you doing? But yeah,
Yeah. Well,
it's
it's
a
it's.
family.
I used to teach my mum when I first started. I said, "Oh yeah, try this, mum. This is what we did today." And I used to get her doing all the exercises and whatever. She loved it actually.
Yeah,
She particularly loved the challenge of doing push-ups, which she did on
yeah,
a regular basis. But that was good. It's interesting because. I know you're quite into the fitness side of life. Perhaps we can hear about that a little bit later on. But one thing that really inspired me when I went into a class for the first time. Classes were a little bit different then because they were longer. They were like sort of 2 hours, but a lot of that was doing fitness, and I absolutely
yeah,
loved doing the fitness side of it. I mean, the martial arts was good, and we didn't do so much pad work in those days, in the early days. But what we did was a lot of fitness. We started
yeah,
off a class with a warm-up, and then it was into fitness, and then it was the martial arts side of it. And that I just absolutely excelled in the fitness because that was all me. I don't know if you had that experience.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess my students will sort of back you up on that one, because a lot of my classes actually are quite physically based.
Yes, yeah,
Not, I mean, obviously we put martial arts in there as well, but
sure,
my students know they're going to get a bit of a beast in,
yeah,
certainly every. Yeah, no, because I love it as well,
yeah,
and I love to join in with them, and I think sometimes that inspires them as well, because they can see me doing it and they can see my passion
sure,
for it, and it rubs off on them. So yeah,
yeah,
I love teaching the area squad up this way, because we do a good sort of hour of martial arts type
sure,
fitness.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you on that one. I love it.
Well, it's
Yeah.
great, yeah. I still love it to this day, and I hope that I mean through this podcast series, Everyday Martial Arts, people will see some of the things that I do throughout my my sort of week and the type of fitness stuff I do. So moving on to something else then, which is a bit of an open-ended question, and it's really, how do you fit sort of martial arts into your everyday life? And I see my fitness regime as part of my martial arts, because I can go into my class and say, right, this is what we're going to do today, and I can be able to do it to a reasonable level. And part of that for me is being fit enough to be able to demonstrate stuff, fit enough to be able to, as you say, join in with people. So my sort of everyday martial arts consists of me exercising. I do a bit of meditation and breath work now and stuff like that. So yeah, how does it fit into your everyday life?
Yeah, I suppose as the years have gone on, martial arts in my life has changed an awful lot. I mean, when I was younger and competing myself, I would be doing taekwondo, or a form of taekwondo, every day,
Sure.
or pretty much 5 days a week, either in a class or doing sparring specific work, or working towards patterns for team patterns or for gradings, and that was what I did. And I think as you get older and you seem to get less time.
Yeah.
I know time stays the same, but you get different pressures. You need to sort of juggle things a little bit.
Yeah.
So I possibly don't spend as much time doing taekwondo per se as I used to,
Mm.
although it does fit into in what you've said. I'm always exercising so that I'm fit enough to do it.
Mm.
If I'm not doing taekwondo itself, I mean, when you become an instructor as well, that
Mm.
becomes a different pressure. Well, not a pressure, but a different sort of thing that you need to consider, and that's
Sure.
again martial arts in everyday life.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, in terms of training, I would say I'm a little bit addicted to exercise, and I do train in some form every day.
Yeah.
In fact, I look back at my Strava post last year, and there wasn't one day where I hadn't done some form of exercise. I just
Sure.
feel I need to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do a lot of running, cycling, swimming,
Yeah.
HIIT classes, weight classes,
Sure.
all sorts of stuff to keep myself physically fit enough to be able to actually
Yeah. Yeah.
do taekwondo itself.
Yeah.
And I guess you've got to be quite careful, because if you do too much, it takes away from what you can do
Yeah.
in taekwondo a little bit.
Sure.
If you do too much running and not enough stretching, it limits your flexibility, and the same with cycling and things like that. So you've got to get a balance. It's got to be right. But for
Yeah.
me, I like to stay fit and healthy, and
Sure.
sort of carries over into my martial arts.
Yeah. Well, it does. I mean, it's funny because a few years ago, this was about, well, what's it, a few years ago, it's about 2015, I had this thing that I wanted to go back into a martial arts class as a student. I actually joined a Tai Chi class. And the reason I joined the Tai Chi class was because I wanted something slightly different, to say, for want of a better word, a hard martial art. I wanted a martial art, but I wanted a soft martial art because I'm generally quite a hyper person, and actually doing things slow and relaxed is generally not me. So I started doing Tai Chi, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was great. It was very, very different to what I was used to. And it took me a long time just to sort of slow down. The instructor was saying, you're going a little bit fast. You need to just slow it down a little bit, and, get your breathing. But sort of following on from that, I actually started doing a little bit of meditation and a little bit of breath work. And it's one of the things I ask people on this podcast whether they do any. And I know that meditation comes in all forms. For example, people find running quite a meditative process. For example, I find playing my guitar, I find juggling quite a meditation thing, something different, and it's actually different from my martial art because I'm not in there, sweating and kicking. I'm just sort of concentrating and working my mind actually more than anything. So yeah, that's my question really, whether you do anything like that.
Yeah, do you know what? I read that question because you sent me the questions ahead, so I've got a rough idea of what to talk about. And I read that question, and it sort of made me laugh because I was like, nah. The only time I've ever, when I first read it, this was because the only time I've ever really done any meditation or breathing has been on summer camp when we've gone for walks looking over at Croyd Bay, and but that I find a struggle because I find sitting still really hard work. I'd rather be doing, but then when I thought about it a little bit more, and I did think, well, actually, I probably do. Do a little bit of meditation, if you like, and that is when I'm running or cycling or swimming, because that's my time when I sort of completely switch off from the people around me, but think about everything. Mum said to me the other day, well, what about when you've gone out for a 2-hour run? I was like, just loads of stuff, and it might be it might be taekwondo, it might be going through patterns in my head or something like that, or it might be planning my next taekwondo class, or it might be when I was training for an Ironman and stuff, I'd be sort of visualizing passing the finish, going over the finish line, because that kept me motivated, kept me pushing through the next goal. So I guess even though I don't physically sit down and meditate or think about breathing, I do sort of switch off and do that sort of meditation process, but while I'm doing something.
Well, it does, and as you know, I mean, I did it's quite a while now, but Land's End to John O'Groats, and when I was training for that, I actually found that quite a meditative process. It was tough, but I get the same buzz. I used to come back from a session, or I used to session on my turbo trainer. I sit down and I used to feel quite relaxed actually after it. I mean, I'd be aching a little bit, but I'd be quite relaxed. And when I do my meditation now, I get the same feeling. I actually get the same feeling, and I think, wow. And now actually when I exercise, I recognize that at times, even though I'm exercising, I am actually getting a slight state of meditation as well. And obviously when you're exercising, you get that breath work as well, which is similar sort of thing if you're breathing properly and you've got either a breathing pattern or whatever. But I think sometimes we miss what we do when we don't see it as meditation, where it actually is.
It did take me some time to think, well, actually, I probably do, but not not in the way that you would expect meditation to be, or a lot of people perceive meditation to be. Yes, a lot of people do a lot of visualization for sports and things like that, and again, like I've said, like when I'm running or cycling, I can imagine myself passing the finish line, or as back in my taekwondo days when I was training, I could imagine myself in a ring, and do you know what I mean? So I do, I guess. But
excellent. No, that's cool. Well, moving on from there, one of the things I want to get across in this sort of series is that, we have another life out of martial arts. Students see me in front of a class and probably think that I go to bed with my martial arts suit on, and because they never see me in anything else. And particularly the children, I see sometimes the children that I teach, and they see me at a supermarket and they look at me and go, "Wow, he's
They
got,
get really shy, don't they?
yeah, he's got proper clothes on. So my question is that really, you know, what do you do when you're not doing martial arts? And I think you know, having obviously you've outlined some of the things that you do, but it'd be interesting to know. And I know that you've started something recently. Perhaps you can tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, at the start of lockdown, I moved in with my parents, and I'm still here. But I can't stop going home, to be quite honest, which is a little bit weird. But yeah, I'm quite happy, and like everyone, or a lot of people, they talk to the kitchen a little bit, and I've always had a passion for cooking and baking, and just But when you live on your own, you don't tend to want to do it.
Yeah.
Because like you're just feeding yourself. But moving in with mum and dad, I realised I was actually providing for them as well. So I just literally took to cooking, baking, creating cakes, and realised I was reasonably good at it. And I can just spend hours in there, hours and hours and hours, and I never get bored. I don't find it work. Again, it's quite therapeutic. It's
Sure.
So yeah, I set up a little bit of a online baking business, and I've done all right. Mother's Day was really busy, which was good. We sent out loads of orders, and it's dribs and drabs, but I enjoy doing it. So it's just So that's one of my main passions at the minute, I would guess.
Yes.
Being in the kitchen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping when Taekwondo kicks back off again, I can maybe have a little bit of a physical store somewhere, a physical sale somewhere, and sell some stuff. But yeah.
Well, it's nice, isn't it? I think even though it's been tough, it sort of brings out other things in us. You know, I mean, I've started this podcast during the last 12 months. I've been thinking about it, and I thought, you know what, I'd actually like to do that, and I've started a blog as well, which is quite good, and because I've been into that fitness side of it, and students have always asked me, well, what do you do? You know, how do you keep yourself fit and whatever? So this is a good way to show them. So I think you know, many people will find that maybe different skills are coming out. So on that as well, go on.
Yeah, I just think lockdown's giving people a bit of a time to sort of like chill out a little bit and reflect, and sort of think maybe that part of my life needs altering, or as you say, try new things, and just venture out in a different way. It's sort of like, for me, it's forced me to stop. It like work stopped, and it forced me to sort of take a bit of a rain check, and I think it's been quite a positive thing.
Yeah.
Sorry,
well, as we were talking about cakes, my next question was about diet, but I've recently adopted an animal-based diet because of some studies that I read, particularly because I had a skin problem, psoriasis, and I've started having mainly an animal-based diet. I am eating a little bit of green stuff, some avocados, my favorite, but my diet is actually quite high fat. Butter and avocados and things like that, and I found it really, really helpful for my skin in general, and actually my energy levels have gone up as well. And I found that eating that way, generally I'm not so hungry. I've been doing a bit of fasting as well, which just intermittent fasting, not sort of 48 hours or anything like that, just intermittent fasting, or I would call it more time restricted eating, actually, where I'm leaving a bigger window of not eating, and I found that quite beneficial. And actually I found it really good that the fact that when I exercise in a fasted state, I can actually exercise better for longer, which is, you know, a real great realization for me, and my recovery seems to be better. But anyway, so my question really again is, you know, whether you follow any particular diet regime, or I mean, I don't get me wrong, I do still like some of the sweet stuff. I've just started sweetening some of the stuff that I have with some natural honey, which is quite nice. But just ask whether you have any diet protocols or anything.
Not really, no. I eat what I fancy and what I like. I say that I'm possibly not the best one to talk to about diet and things, and a lot of coaches and you know, professionals would sort of question how much I eat and
Yeah.
things like that. But I mean, for me, I know you should have breakfast. I don't eat breakfast, but I train first thing in the morning. So I guess I'm sort of training fasted, if you like.
Yeah.
So I normally train for a couple of hours in the morning and then
Yeah.
chill out for the rest of the day. I don't eat until dinner time. That's just
Right.
how I've sort of, I don't know, I've just done it for years, and that's what I'm used to, and that's what my body's used to. So I have a
Sure.
very light lunch, a scone or something like that,
Mm.
which is what I like. And then I have a tea at about 7:30, a main meal,
Sure.
and then a piece of cake before I go to bed, and then I do it again the following day. So yeah, there's no specific food as such. I eat meat. Having said that, I'm eating a lot more vegetarian meals at the minute. I'm finding
Okay.
them
Yeah.
quite tasty.
Yeah.
Again, because I'm cooking and I'm experimenting with different
Yeah.
recipes. And to be fair, some of the vegetarian food is tastier, I think, than
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah.
but yeah, I know I eat meat, fish,
Yeah.
cakes. I love cake, love
Mm.
cake. But that's another one. I'll not sort of eat cake unless I've earned it.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
that's not. This is so for anyone, like for any youngsters listening or any aspiring athletes, I wouldn't advise it. But
Mm.
for me, like, if I've exercised during the day, then I can have a treat at night.
Yeah.
And that's how I work it. And because I love my treats, then I exercise. So it's sort of like like a catch-22.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Well, I've said that myself, to be honest. I think that. I mean, I do like my treats as well, and occasionally I'll have cake or whatever. I love dark chocolate, for example, which has got quite a low sugar content anyway. But I I I mean, for me, the meat-based diet or plant-based, animal-based diet is working quite well. I actually think now, personally, having tried different things and been vegetarian and just ate fish, I don't think there's one size that fits all. I think everybody is very individual. Now I eat a maximum of twice a day. So
yeah,
I'll probably eat midday, 12 o'clock, and then I'll eat possibly at 4 or 5. But sometimes I'll only eat once a day, and I find that okay. And I'll just have, one coffee in the morning, and then I'll drink green tea. It's not that I won't have alcohol; I will have a little bit, but I don't think I've had any for 2 or 3 months, to be honest. I don't miss it. So yeah, I don't think there's one size that fits all. I think you have to find, what works for you. And I think if you are exercising and you are, working your body quite a lot, then actually, do you know what? You can get away with a bit of cake.
that's right. That I wouldn't just eat cake every day if as I say, if I hadn't earned the right to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, so having said that, I've got some athlete friends who do Ironman, so they are physically fit anyway, and they are training a lot, but they just eat pretty much. They like you've said, they eat nothing but fat. So like, when they're on the bike and things, they just take clotted cream, so they have
Okay.
clotted cream to feel like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so really high fat diets rather than carbohydrate. And
Yeah.
you're right, there's so many different things and different theories and different
Sure.
ways of eating. I just think what suits you best, and
Sure. Yeah.
as long as you don't feel sluggish and slow and
Yeah. Well, I think you need to listen to your body, don't you? Your body
yeah,
will tell you everything you need to know.
yeah,
And performance-wise, if you're doing it a lot, you can tell whether your performance dips or how
yeah,
you feel. And certainly for me, once I started eating differently, I thought, well, I've got a lot of energy. I'm recovering quicker. This is obviously suiting me, and it's not that I'm, eating T-bone steaks every day. I'm actually, there are some days where I won't eat meat. I'll just have avocado, with some butter or a bit of cream cheese or something like that. So it does change, and I do try and have some variety in the meats that I eat, for example. I tend to eat the fatty cuts of meat. It's not lean steaks. It's quite fatty cuts. So, and I eat eggs as well. Particularly duck eggs I like, which are quite nice. But no, excellent. Well, I personally, I've always been very self-motivated ever since I was 8-9 years old. When I first got into a football team, I loved training, and my mother never had to get me out of bed to train. She never had to say, "Are you going to this morning?" And I'd say no. I'd say I'd be up, and I've always been the same. Even now, 6:30, I'm up. Like you, I train in the morning. I go over to. I like training outside, so I get out. I've never had a problem, so I'm very self-motivated. What about yourself? Are you that way, or do you need a training partner?
Yeah, no, completely self-motivated. So, but it sort of depends what I'm doing. I'll be honest. I guess with Taekwondo, I like to train with other people. It's strange. I think because I think you can bounce, particularly with patterns and things like that, you can bounce off each other and learn from each other. And I guess because patterns have never been my favourite sort of discipline within the art, I've needed someone around me to push me and keep going. And with sparring, that side of martial arts, I've always trained with Miss Weatherer, because we know how to push each other, I guess. So even back in like when we were training with the Puma squad on a regular basis, we'd always be encouraged to train with somebody different, but would always sort of migrate towards each other because I knew how to push Miss Weather. I know how to push Stacey, and she knows how to push me. So we always like graduate towards each other and sort of work together. So I think in that respect, I have had training partners within Taekwondo. If I think to my sort of my running and cycling and swimming, I'm so much more self-motivated. I'd rather go. In fact, I'd rather go out on my own. I'd rather go out for a 60-mile bike ride on my own completely, because I can go at my pace. I can sort of switch off from the things around me and sort of enjoy just being me. And like yourself, like tomorrow morning, I'll get up and I'll be up reasonably early, and I'll go out and do a half marathon probably. I normally do on a Sunday morning, and I don't have a problem with getting up and doing that. I just get up and go. So for some people, they need sort of an extrinsic motivation to make them do it, but not I just want to just get up and do it.
I was always knocking on Master O's door saying, "Right, you coming out training?" And his mum would answer the door and say, "He's still in bed." I used to have to go and get him up, but I've always been very, very simple.
Because to be quite honest with Miss Weatherett, like I have to make her get a gym on and come out with me, and she'll drag her feet, but once she's training, she loves it, and afterwards she loves it. It's just getting some people to that point. And then enjoy it. It's just for me, I've never really had that problem. As you say, I love to feel out. It's not been a day if I don't feel out of breath. I've got to feel out of breath in a day, and then I feel like alive and a human being again.
Excellent. Well, I'm sort of coming to. I've actually got one last question. It may not be on the list. I can't remember, but I'll tell you my thoughts on it. Perhaps you can have a think while I'm telling you. But the question is really what level you've reached in your martial art, and do you think that grade matters, maybe to you personally or whatever. Now my sort of thoughts on it, when I was like most people, when I was a color belt, you always want to be a black belt. You see the black belts, think, wow, one day I'm going to be a black belt. And I remember getting my black belt and thinking, well, I'm still not as good as those people, but I didn't realize that some of those have been training, started 10 years before or 5 years before I started, and that experience took me some time. But as I've gone to the grades, I remember going to when I was a 5th degree, and actually in my mind I said, I'm quite happy there. I didn't actually want to go any further. And when I was sort of encouraged to take my 6th degree, I didn't want to take it. And then when I was encouraged to take my 7th degree, I didn't do it. And that was, you know, because I just thought, well, actually, I'm actually quite happy. But I personally, I think grade, it can be important in the sense that it perhaps in a way shows how long you've been training and your experience and so on. To me personally, I don't see it as being that important. It's never changed me as an individual. And so, yeah, that's my question really, is how you think about it.
Yeah, I actually, I could say exactly the same thing. I think when I got my 2nd degree, in the back of my mind, I always wanted a 3rd. I got to 3rd and thought, I'm quite happy. And then you start to think, oh well, maybe 4th, because then, you know, there's a little bit of something about a 4th, isn't there? Because you get your stripes, international instructor, and you think, yeah, I'll get my 4th. And I got my 4th, and I said, I'm not grading again. I'm quite happy. Obviously, instructor of Chesterfield Taekwondo. I think, you know, having the international stripes, as an instructor, again, it inspires your students. But I thought, no, that is completely it. I'm not bothered. And at that point, I started to. I stopped competing, or my competing days came to an end in Taekwondo, and I started to do other things, working towards triathlons and Ironmans and stuff. So I said, you know, I've got to a point where I've got as far as I've wanted to go in Taekwondo, and I sort of had a little bit of not had a break because I was still instructing, but I had a little bit of a break from my Taekwondo training and did all the things, and then I got made redundant at work, which was really, really tough, because everything I'd known for the last sort of 18 years had sort of like been pulled away from me. And again, that was a bit of a rain check, what am I going to do? And I actually started to realize how much Taekwondo meant to me. Not just physical Taekwondo, but the people around me, and being with my students in class, and teaching, being with the area squad. And I just sort of realized that I had a sense of purpose. Because I'd lost all of that. I'd lost everything, and it gave me a sense of purpose. And as I realised how much.
Sorry, you cut out
there. And had given me. So are you still there?
Yes, still here.
So, yeah, why don't you train towards your 5th? And I was like, oh, I'm not really bothered. And then I got the invitation from the masters to go for my 5th, and it sort of all fell into place at the right sort of time. So with the encouragement of my students, and the encouragement that I received from my masters and Mr. Salt, our area head of area, I just thought, do you know what, I might as well go for it. And I'm pleased I did. I'm pleased I did for my students, actually, just to give them a sense of you know, this is what you can achieve. And it inspired a lot of them. In terms of going any further, not a chance. Really quite content. Yeah, I'm just no, I'm quite content as a 5th degree, but yeah, so it's funny, like you say, when I was a yellow belt, I couldn't wait to learn the next pattern, and then you get to the next pattern, you can't wait and you just want to keep progressing. And then I think the longer you do Taekwondo or martial arts, you realize that's not actually the be all and end all. It's about improving yourself and learning, and it's not always jumping through hoops to get to the next grade. It becomes an integral part of your life in different ways.
No, thanks for that. Great answer. We've come to the end of the interview and of our chat together, and I want to just thank you, to be honest, for sharing your insights into you and your martial arts, and that's what it's all about. I'm hoping that the people that listen to this will take some inspiration from the chats that I have with people. I'm sure they will from you. I know a lot of people who talk about you always talk about you in a great way, and what a great person you are. And I think for me, martial arts it's not about obviously it is about the punching and kicking side. That's what we do, but it's also about being a person that people want to be around, and I think that comes across with you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I really do. It actually got me thinking as well. It's not always about kicking and punching. One of my a student who got to his black belt with me about 5 years ago got in touch with me during lockdown, and he'd written a comment on somebody's post on Facebook somewhere along the line that I'd written, and it put something like, although I've stopped training, those years in Taekwondo still live with me, and it changed my life. And I think regardless of whether you're still actually doing it, I think Taekwondo can change your life in the morals, and just the way you become a more rounded person, I think. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks very much. Everybody listening to this, we'll put any information regarding Emma and her classes in the show notes. So you're more than welcome to, connect with Emma, go along to her classes. I'm sure you'll be more than. Yeah. Thanks ever so much, and hopefully we'll see you on the next session of Everyday Martial Arts podcast. Thank you.